All right, so devlog number 5, what have I been up to? Starting off here, I have been trying to rework the UI to something that I actually kind of like. So this was attempt number 1. This was kind of like an iterative process. So instead of having those gold buttons at the bottom and all that grossness, I was like, let's go ahead and refactor that and make it much nicer. So initial attempt was this like brown thing, not much change. And I was like, you know what? I don't hate this. This isn't too bad. Let's spend a little bit more time on this and figure things out. So that took me to attempt number 2, which was this apparently much more higher resolution screenshot, where I kind of broke out, instead of having the hero stats up here on the left, I broke it out into icons. And I was like, oh, I like that. I also shrinked all this stuff down here, and then kind of left the exchange over here and everything like that, but not too many changes otherwise. I just really broke everything down, tried to minimize it, make it less like verbose. And I was like, you know what, this is actually pretty good. So let's go ahead and work off of this design and kind of go to the next one, which leads me to kind of the final iteration here before I go all out into what I've decided to accept. So this one was just kind of adjusting all the stats in the upper right to kind of conform to over here on the upper left, as well as kind of editing just a little bit of the XP bar here, just to make sure that it articulates what level you are is really the main change there. But otherwise, this was kind of it before the final one I accepted. And then this is the final product, which I think I'm quite happy with. I changed out the arrows. I added in some hero buttons here for whenever there's multiple heroes, you can toggle between them. I have like a display for weapons. I think I'm going to limit them to just 3 is kind of the plan. And then I also overhauled all of this area over here. So this will be like your summon rate, the extra health, the extra speed, and your MP per second. I think I'm just going to have to tutorialize things pretty good initially, and then I think that'll kind of take care of the lack of information here. I think once you played a round or two, you'll just understand what's here, and it'll work really, really well. And then the monster buttons down here, very simple. I'm honestly thinking about just dropping this background UI here, because there's really no point. There's not much of a reason to have it other than just to differentiate that you're going to have a bunch of things spawning here. But we'll see. We'll see if I keep that or not. It's an easy change. But overall, I'm quite happy with this. I think I just have to get all of the information updating correctly and work out hero switching and stuff, which is not going to be easy. And then add that option to the main menu here, which also got a little bit of a rework. Add in the ability to select multiple heroes. I think it's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that rework, honestly. I think it looks really nice. So now just time to go in, strip out all the placeholder code of all these old displays that'll now just be useless, and then get everything updating correctly. And then let's get on to that. Alrighty, so gotta love the magic of editing. This is probably a couple days later at this point. I have been just thinking about how I want to handle all this, do a whole UI redesign that I've been, doing updates on a couple of seconds ago. But the main thing that I've been focusing on since the UI redesign has just been like a draft upgrade system for for the player. So first thing you'll see actually is I redid just the theme of like the main menu. There's still no settings or anything like that, but the upgrade still kind of looks like crap, but it is what it is. But all this stuff has kind of been like thematically changed. I still want to do multi-hero selection on this screen, but I haven't gotten around to it. I just have audio off right now, just so we're not going to listen to any of that stuff. But if we just start our run, standard stuff, normally you have your sound effects, but I have that off right now just for development purposes. And, you shoot your people, you chase everything like that, all your stats are over here. But let's say that you level up. I actually added a cheat menu too, just to speed along development. But let's say you get 20 XP and you level up. So now you're going to be presented with this draft screen, and it's going to outline the rarity of whatever was dropped, as well as any monsters that you will be able to start to draft down here in the bottom right. There's still one improvement I want to make on that system, but overall that's basically what it's going to be. I want to tier monsters into low, mid, high, so you get stronger monsters as you level up more. I just haven't actually implemented that in the back end. All the data's there, I just haven't actually done the checking, but that's besides the point. So you get, your little icon that kind of correlates with whatever your stats are here in the upper right, as well as what the change will be, starting from this to this, starting from this to that, or you can pick a monster. So just for demonstration purposes, I am going to go ahead and pick MP rate. So before it was 0.5 a second, so every tick, because the ticks in this game are every 2 seconds for spawning waves and giving you MP, so you would get 1. So after this we should get, I think, 1.6. So it'll update up there in the upper right, and we'll start getting 1.5, 1.6. There's some rounding errors in there. I think it's just 1.5 from the rounding, but let's go ahead and say you do really well again and you level up again. You start to get different upgrades. There's only one extra enemy in the game right now, so you're going to see the bat a lot unless I pick it. But if you do pick bat, it'll just replace it with something else. I'm actually thinking about giving you like meta currency if you kind of like run out of monsters, but I don't really know. But so then you have your various upgrades here, and there are different rarities. So there's common, uncommon, rare, and epic, and the only thing that really changes right now is just the color of the text as well as the color of the arrow here, just to kind of differentiate, like, hey, you're getting more bang for your buck for picking these upgrades as opposed to the common upgrades. It doesn't look very good right now. I might have to tweak some of the design and stuff like that, but I don't hate it. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. There's a bunch of space down here because I thought I would just do, you select the whole panel and the whole panel highlights, and then you hit this big select button and it would go. But it was much easier to kind of just make these things their own separate game objects and feed them in that way. So let's go ahead and pick bat, and then bat pops up down here, and then we are able to summon in bats. That's actually a problem there on the left that I have to address. Is like the parallax scaling isn't doing super great, and then I still have yet to add in like an actual game end, so if the hero dies we just crash. But that is kind of what I've been working on. That took me a stupid amount of time, if I'm honest. The draft upgrade system and everything is not programmed super great. There's a lot of switch statements and a lot of matching and stuff that I could probably do more smartly, but I am overall a pretty lazy person, and the draft upgrade only happens once every level up, so it can afford to be a little bit more inefficient than something that runs every frame, like searching out for the closest enemies and stuff like that. But overall, I'm extremely happy with the draft system. I really like the way it feels. Definitely still a ton of balancing needed, but it is really nice to be able to kind of get a little bit of progression going right now. And as I add more monsters and stuff, that'll all keep happening, and that'll be really nice. One of the things I have to do is link up the player stuff here to these things are placeholders. So I think I'm going to allow a maximum of 5 different heroes that you can fight from the main menu. And we're just going to be able to toggle between them here. And the ultimate goal is, these do nothing right now, but the ultimate goal is, like, if there's only one hero, there'll only be one button, and it'll just be as big as this thing. If there's 2 heroes, this will split in half, and there'll be 2 buttons, etc., etc. And there's that parallax clipping again. I have to fix that. That's really going to bother me. At the top of the screen there a second ago. If the player keeps running down, you'll see it. Actually, I'll make them run to the right so you guys can see the parallax clipping I'm talking about. Because another thing that I've done is I've zoomed the camera out quite a bit. So everything looks a little bit smaller, everything looks a little bit, nicer, cleaner for kind of like a pixel thing. So I like it that way. But yeah, so it'll split up to multiple heroes up here. And now, whenever you would switch between them, it would show you the different weapons the heroes could have. I think I've decided to limit each hero to 3 different weapons. But conceptually, say you have 2 heroes, you click number 2, what would happen? Ooh, upgrade, epic. The color tag didn't apply to the epic one, so I'm going to have to look into that, but that's pretty cool. I guess it doesn't really matter if this just stays up for a second, because I'm probably going to end the video here soon, but yeah, so you would click 2 or whatever, and then his weapons or her weapons would change out over here. And I intend to have the heroes unlock new weapons as they level up, and also for their weapons to level up. And if you hover over them, it'll explain to you exactly what the weapon is, what ability it has, what's the fire rate, how much damage it does. And I think that's how I'm going to hide away more detailed stats for people that really want to look at them, is the goal, because I think that actually makes it a lot cleaner. I still have yet to implement this exchange feature down here. It doesn't do anything. But my thought there is to kind of be able to exchange MP for XP in case you kind of get in a situation where the heroes are really running away in power and you can't really catch them. You could do it that way. But overall, I have to work on just balancing. I think the next thing I'll actually be working on in the next devlog will be getting all these heroes to come in over here, update all their stats over here, and maybe do multi-hero support so I can have that going. And then I can start working on balancing and everything like that to try to get like a good gameplay flow going. And then I think that will cover all like the version 1 changes that I want, because at the very core of the game, that will be everything that needs to be in the game. Multi-hero support, switching, time round, stuff like that. The only thing that wouldn't be included would be meta upgrades. But I do think it's been a while since I've published an update to the itch.io kind of demo area. So I think I want to just do the hero support stuff. And then, yeah, multi-hero support, figure all that stuff out. And then kind of just update the itch.io demo so people can kind of get their hands on it. And I can get a little bit of feedback as far as how the changes are perceived. And if people still think this is a half-decent idea now that I've kind of taken it much bigger step in the hopefully the right direction. I do wish I could find a way to like articulate exactly how much health the zombies have and stuff. I did that on a pause menu in the prototype scene, but I'm not really sure how I want to do it here. That's one thing I still have to debate. Actually, if you look at the top of the screen, this is carryover from whenever I was doing parallax work to kind of zoom the camera out. Now that I zoom the camera out, it's a little funky. It's just not done right. So another thing I have to fix before I go live on itch for the demo or whatever, or maybe I'll just leave it in, I don't know. It's not a really big deal, but I do think I've made a lot of really good changes in this. So I'm very excited to finish out the changes here, get this hero stuff working, maybe one more devlog. Maybe whenever that devlog goes live, I can include a link to the itch.io page and just show off, hey, this is the newest version. So looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the feedback, and I guess I will see you guys next time.